Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Epic Show, home of the most epic music on the planet, right here on Mojo Radio. This is the Epic Texan, hanging out with you here for the next couple of hours. And once again, we've got another featured band of the week, Scrollkeeper, and they are hanging out with us here. What's up, guys?
Hello.
Hello, guys.
Hello. All right.
This is Alex. I'm the guitar player.
Justin, vocals.
All right. Thank you guys for being on the show. Really appreciate you.
Thank you for having us, man. Thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely. So, tell us about how Scrollkeeper came to be. Like, how did the band start?
So, the band started back in 2016. Our drummer, Simon, and a guitar player that's no longer part of the group started the band back in 2016. I joined them late summer of that year. We had a revolving door of different guitar players until Alex came in. Alex and I have been friends for quite some time. Shared rooms together in studios before, but never played in a band together. And Alex came in. You know, he and I have always got along and always been pretty friendly with one another. So that was a pretty easy transition. And here we are.
Right on. So, how did the name Scrollkeeper come about?
Simon came up with it, our drummer. It's actually based upon. Have you ever seen that '80s movie, the Jim Henson movie, The Dark Crystal?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, one of the Skeksis, one of the villains, is called the Scrollkeeper. So that's actually where he got the name.
Nice. Very cool. So, you just released this album. Tell us about that.
Ooh, Alex, I mean, most of the writing on this one's yours.
Okay. Originally, we did a 4-song EP, which was... Okay, well, the way that things happen, I'm going to take it back a little more. Okay, we got together, the three of us, Simon drums, Justin on vocals, and I on guitar. And we did write, I believe, 6 songs, and things kind of came in real fast because that was an opportunity for us to open up for Hammerfall. So in order to open up for Hammerfall, we had to have a demo. And at that point, actually, I took down an 8-channel interface. I used to work as a recording engineer in another life. And I basically took a basic interface that I had at the time and recorded, just a few mics on the drums and, just 2 songs live. And then we just added vocals to that. And that became our first EP, which was 2017. We called that one Fortune Favors the Bold, and it had 2 songs, Surrender and Fortune, which is also on this album. We added these at the end. So these 2 songs basically were recorded quick in order to secure the gig. The club heard them, liked them, and we got to open up. Our first show was actually with Hammerfall and Delane. So we were right there. We're talking March 2017, I believe, at that point. So from there on, we started working, did quite a lot of shows. We did have another guitar player that joined us and a bassist, so we had 2 guys that are no longer with us, and we cut those 2 songs and 2 more songs, which became a 2018 Path to Glory EP. So those songs are slightly different production. So those are one of the songs we didn't have the rights because it was written by the other guitar player, so that got dropped from the LP. So the tail end of this LP is essentially 3 songs that we recorded in 2018 with new parts and a remix done. So that's Fortune, Surrender, and Path to Glory. Then the rest of it came in real quick. I've had quite a lot of ideas. We did 2019, we did Lady Death as a single, which was the first one that was recorded. And after that, everything came in pretty quickly. We did a long we did a long list of shows at the end of middle 2019, and when that ended, we let the other guitar player go. We did have some issues with him, and it turned out that our bass player wasn't working out that well either, so we started looking for other people. In the meantime, we just started recording all the material that we had. I assumed the role of bassist on this album for the most part. And then beginning of this year, Andrew Sutton, who I've known from my previous band, Descent into Madness, he was with us for 3 years. He joined on bass guitar, and he lives in San Antonio. So it's an interesting, he has to drive for practices, or we do Skype practices. And so he came in at the tail end and did Valhalla's Gate and Gilles de Rais, which are the last two songs that got recorded. So essentially, this is a 12-song album, and the majority was recorded beginning of summer last year up until like December, and then we added 2 more songs at the beginning of January that were finished in March, and then as we got into lockdown and we recorded the last bass notes on the album, I ended up with an extra month, so I wrote the intro. That's also on this record, the acoustic piece. It was basically one of those things. It's like, okay, you're in lockdown. What do you do? Let's see. If we don't have power, I play acoustic guitar, so I just picked it up. It went back.
Right.
So that was the long explanation.
Yeah, I mean, I completely understand. It's like when you're sitting there, it's like, okay, what do I do? Hey, let me make some music, right?
Yes, definitely. So yeah, we did have some issues with the production as our engineer fell ill, and we had to postpone by about 2 months the release date. So that also gave me some time to slap on some guitar stuff in there, and we got to finesse some of the other parts, clean up a few more things, and essentially I was the one that was presenting all the tracks for him to mix. And the reason we do that is because we like to have somebody that's impartial. So that way, it's like I'm not, as a guitar player, sometimes you might have a bias. You might mix the guitar a little hotter than you would if you were mixing somebody else, So we don't have those issues. We use an outside mix engineer. And then I mastered it, whatever, that was like in the middle of May. And so right now it's been out already on Bandcamp, and we do have CDs coming up soon. They're actually printing right now at disc makers.
Right on. But until then, you do have it available online, right?
All the normal platforms: Spotify, Amazon, Apple Music, across the board. Bandcamp, I mean, if somebody wants to support us, the most direct contribution comes to us from Bandcamp. We don't have to wait for it, and we get the largest cut from Bandcamp. So if they really want to support us, go to Bandcamp, Scrollkeeper at Bandcamp.
Right on, right on. So, speaking on a personal level, what are some influences for y'all musically?
For me, so I come from more of a death and black metal background and thrash. About 10 years ago, I started dipping my toes more into quote-unquote clean singing. Mm-hmm. So there's the obvious influences of Halford and Dickinson and Dio. But I would say with Scrollkeeper, we took a lot of bands that are in our genre do the super high falsetto stuff. We took an approach where we want to be a bit more street level, a bit more gritty, and so I look more towards baritone singers within the heavy metal genre, Liege Lord, things of that nature. Omen. Those are big influences on what I'm doing with this project.
Yeah, personally, I grew up on Deep Purple was probably the first band that I was really impressed with as a kid, and then I just kept on looking for something heavier, harder, and faster. So I kind of graduated through all the genres, and ended up with grindcore, like your Napalm Death and Carcass, etc. So I mean, I have a variety of influences. The one that seemed to stick with me the longest is actually the Swiss prog thrashers Coroner. That's one of my biggest influences, probably. Not necessarily in this project. Iron Maiden's always been something that I've enjoyed, so this is kind of more towards that. And Saxon and Accept were also some of the first bands that I grew up with, and we're kind of trying to infuse our music mostly with that kind of a feeling to it. Although some of these other influences come in some places. And that last song, especially that we did, which was Valhalla's Gate, that's more towards the like your Testament and Creator type of stuff.
Right on. Okay, so now that some of the venues are starting to open up, even at a certain capacity, do y'all have any plans to do any shows anytime soon?
We'd like to. I mean, we essentially had our summer booked up with potential gigs, and they've all been canceled. Anything that was booked prior to COVID has been put on hold. Yeah, I mean, we're itching to get out and play. I don't know how much benefit there would be to be playing in front of a 25 or 50% capacity crowd. It's hard to say.
Right on.
Yeah, unfortunately, we missed. Probably one of our career headlines would have been, highlights would have been for me to play with Flotsam and Jetsam, and that's been postponed. So that's the only show we have on the books is actually opening up for Flotsam and Jetsam in May next year, I believe. We did have like a mini Texas tour planned, which all fell through. So right now we're just kind of devastated doing press and I don't know. Yeah, essentially we're all practicing by ourselves so far. So we're kind of writing some new stuff that most likely we would gear towards throwing a few more singles in maybe 3-4 months time. We're looking into possibly doing a video. And going back to places, honestly, if the crowd is not there, I don't see a reason. Talking about that, incidentally, one of the funny things is, there were some places that, you just had to threaten someone to get in. And now they're calling me and begging me to go and play, It was like 2 years ago.
Things work out, huh?
Please. Yeah, please get us in. It's like, oh no, hey, you guys suck. You don't have enough of a draw or whatever. It's like, hey, Alex, remember you talked to me about 2 years ago? How about y'all coming in and playing for us now? I was like, you and the two drunks on the bar, I'll have to reconsider. I mean, honestly, considering the $50 that you make from a local show and the 3 people that would see you at this point, I'd rather not catch COVID. Yeah. I just put it this way. Honestly, I don't feel it's safe. Although if it's a really good gig or if it's going to be a big attendance, I might do it.
Right. It's understandable. I mean, especially right now, it's understandable to kind of pick and choose, when is the right time. Safety is always, got to be number one concern.
We've kicked around the idea of doing some live streaming stuff. Maybe doing a live stream show. So that may manifest, that may materialize. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen quite a rise in that happen. Ever since everything had to be put on hold or shut down. I've seen quite a few bands, from their studios or garages or whatever.
I mean, if we were going to do it, we'd have to put a spin on it. I don't see us just setting up a camera in our rehearsal room and then trying to live stream a rehearsal. Nobody wants to watch that, right? So we would have to find some way to spin it and market it in a way that was actually interesting for the people that would potentially be watching. We're not going to just live stream us hanging out in our room and running through the songs.
Right. Understandable. All right. Cool. So anything else you got going on? I know you said you might be working on some singles coming up. Anything else, in the works or anything?
Well, there were a few songs that got left over from this album, so we might actually get to polish those up and put them out. I don't know. We probably will try to reschedule some of the gigs that fell through and possibly get out of town. I just don't know if anybody feels comfortable with doing them. Still at this stage. As far as the band, we will have a lot of distribution things to go through. Right now, we do have a bunch of record stores out of town that actually carry our previous EP, and we're going to try to place product with them. So a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes in terms of that and promotional.
Right on.
We're talking to some labels, but I don't know. I don't want to say a big word right now. Everything is just in beginning stages on that.
Right on. Well, good luck to you on that. Hope it goes through.
Thank you.
Not a problem. So if I'm a new fan of Scrollkeeper, where can I find you? Is there a website?
Scrollkeeper.net is our main website. We're also on Bandcamp. Social media, we've Scrollkeeper HM for heavy metal on Instagram. We're on Facebook, Twitter, all the normal platforms. We're there.
All right, right on. All right, so how about let's play a couple of songs from the new album? Why don't you each pick a song, and I'll go ahead and throw it out there for you.
Alex, you want to take the first one?
Let's do the album title, Alto da Fe.
Okay. All right, you got another one you want to pick?
Justin?
I would say let's hit him with Gilles de Rais.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and play those two songs. Gentlemen, thank you guys for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. All right, so stay tuned right here because we're going to play those songs from Scrollkeeper, and after that, I'll be back to talk more about the show. So stay tuned right here to the Epic Show on Mojo Radio.